Okay, we're live here on YouTube. Thanks very much for tuning in. I do these broadcasts about once, maybe twice a week, and I'm on LinkedIn and I'm on Facebook, and this, of course, is YouTube. I don't know who's watching, but I do have a following on all my radio stations that I'm on and the radio show, certainly on YouTube for that particular show. Um, the different mediums, the different medias have ways by which it's convenient, it's easy, but for the most part, it's just sitting in front of a camera and talking, which is what I usually do. And let me start that again. I'm Jeff Barton. This is the Mortgage Minute. 6.12 is the 30-year fix, 5.32 is the 15-year, 5.50 is FHA, 5.10 is the jumbo loan, and 5.95 is the 5/1 ARM. The 2 years at 3.4, the 10 years at 3.2. We have about 25 basis points separating them. We have an inverted yield curve. Yes, that means recession is coming, and I think it's coming within the next 6 to 8 months. I think we're going to get through this election cycle. It's kind of like a football game in that there's so many people so fired up about it. I think they've forgotten that most of what happens in the country is happening between neighbors, people they know, people at work, and getting along is just how we do it. We don't go in a line and separate from one side to another, depending on how you think about one particular person or another. No, we kind of get along, and that's kind of the way I see the mortgage market. These numbers that I'm quoting are not one side versus the other. It's just right down the middle. If you want a mortgage, this is the way it is. Now, a lot of the mortgage companies are laying people off, because 70% of the refis that we had last year at this time do not come this year, which means obviously we're down. Big box banks, Chase, Wells, Bank of America, yeah, they're all laying people off in the mortgage section. Even United Wholesale and Rocket are also doing the same thing. Now, there are a number of lenders that are laying off hundreds, thousands, and that really affects a lot in the industry. As everybody knows, about 25% of the workforce is related to real estate. It's not like China, whereby we're overextended and that real estate sector is really in for an awakening, as is the economy in general, as that country tries to deal with what they're dealing with. And by the way, I think that has to do more with what the lockdowns are about rather than COVID. They don't want to see people rioting in the street for money that they've spent on housing that isn't being built, even though they're paying on mortgages. Another story, another day. Let's get to a couple of other things. 4 reasons why people did not refi during the last refi boom, which, by the way, if you missed it, we're back up to 2019, 2018 levels. Changing circumstances, too small of a loan, planning to sell the property, and of course, the math doesn't make sense. All of these are 4 great reasons why they didn't refi. As I said, 25% of the people who could have refied did not refi, and that's kind of an interesting thing all by itself. Home prices dropped between June and July, almost 1%, 0.77%. Now, that doesn't seem like a lot, but if you realize that that is the largest drop since 2011 on a month-to-month basis, that is a big deal. Also, it's the first monthly drop of any size in 32 months. That's a big deal. We are starting to see the country, the economy, and certainly the mortgage market revert back to pre-pandemic levels when we were seeing rising interest rates at the time. The massive government bailout or the massive government spending in order to keep people either housed or with money in their pocket while they told everybody to stay home, that's really waning, although we do still see consumer spending way above what we thought we would see when we started the Fed tightening cycle. And by the way, the Fed tightening cycle, we're probably going to see another 75 basis points from the Fed. 2 of the Fed members, the Vice Chair Lael Brainard and Mester, Nester, she is, as well as Lael, both are saying, look, number one, we're going to keep inflation or get inflation down to 2%. Now, we are way far away from that. So we are definitely going to see 75 basis points now, and we may see it again, especially if we see numbers of the employment like we saw in the end of last month at 315,000 new hires, and we may see consumer spending, which has gone up, and usually that portends expanding economy rather than contracting economy, i.e. recession. So as long as the numbers are like that, it's confusing, right? There's a lot of ways by which you could spin this, but according to these 2, we're going to see more raises by the Fed, and that's why I say 75 basis points probably by the end of the month. Current borrowers on average only owe 42% of their home value. Now, we have seen some reduction in home value because we've seen prices fall. Now, obviously, year over year, we still see 14% increase in the value of your home, but that is actually falling quite a bit. And we will probably see that continue, even though we do see that the home values are coming down somewhat month to month. Okay, I've run out of steam here. Sorry about that. Anyway, I'm Jeff. This is the Mortgage Minute. You can see us on this particular station, YouTube. We're also on a number of radio stations, 5 radio stations in 3 states. We're on about 10 podcasts, LinkedIn, Facebook, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I'm Jeff Barton. This is the Mortgage Minute, and we will see you next time.